So what I want to talk about today is just like stuff that's happening in my own life that I think is just weird in terms of like the amount, and it kind of like makes you think this is beyond probability, or you know, there's got to be something more. Why does it all happen at once or very, very close? My recent one, I just bought a helmet. I paid like $1,000 for it, and I tried it in the shop, and I know all about, you know, round oval or, you know, intermediate oval or long, you know, all of that stuff, but somehow I just managed to get the wrong helmet, and I paid $1,000. Like, I didn't know really, or actually the reason for this is not, you know, one of these cosmic reasons. It's just because I was just dumb. Like I think I went into the shop and I tried a few helmets on, but I didn't buy it there because they didn't have the size and the color that I wanted, so I bought it online. And I think what happened was, like, I tried a couple of the Arai helmets, and I know one of them was uncomfortable, like it had pressure points, but maybe I just like forgot which one, and I got that one. But I was probably like also, you know, like how nice, I was just overexcited about how good the helmet looked, and it was on special as well. So all that stuff just made me just, I don't know, buy the wrong helmet, and I used it for 2 days, but I could feel the pressure points, you know, after like 5 minutes or something, which is more than what you test at the shop, right? So it's not until after you get it that you know. And then, but I was riding it for 2 days, using it for 2 days. I was feeling the pressure points, and even worse, like I was getting you know, headaches and stuff from it. So it just I went to return it. I contacted the manufacturers and everything, and they said, because you wore it, we can't take it back, we can't give you a refund. And so I'm stuck trying to like sell this helmet. Like, but on top of that was, you know, recently, you know, I've been, you know, at the end of the year I do all my budgeting and stuff, and I'm looking at the numbers, and you know, everyone's complaining about the cost of living, but just this weight came on me when I saw the numbers, you know, the financial pressure. And then, you know, I've been trying to sell my Triumph for a while. I eventually sold it, and I also gave my helmet as well, the old one that I had, and that sort of improved my bank account. And I maybe sort of forgot, even though I took a bit of a loss when selling it, but I kind of forgot, or I didn't think so much about this financial pressure that I was having at the beginning of the year, right? So I felt a bit relieved. I'm like, oh yeah, I got a bit of money. I'm happy that I got a bit more money in the bank. And then like just recently, like as soon as I've just got a bit of money in the bank, there's this major issue in my home where my bathroom starts leaking upstairs. Like the money that, you know, I was saying I'm happy I got money sitting in my account, even though I'm still going backwards. I don't know how long that money's gonna last there. Now, like this renovation that I have to do, urgent renovation, has just, like, you know, whatever I had, it just left me with a few, you know, just a tiny bit left. On top of that, just, you know, this is something small as well, but it's all happening at around the same time. My YouTube channel, like I've had a hard drive of everything that I've done since I started 2 years ago, and somehow that hard drive got completely like wiped out or formatted, or I don't know, it was a 2 terabyte hard drive. I was, you know, fixing a guy's computer. Like I don't fix people's computers. Like I used to do that a long time ago, but there's a guy who just keeps coming to me. He's got a business. I brought his laptop, and I'm like, oh, I'll fix it for you, just for a little bit of cash here on the side. But I was doing it more of as a favor, and somehow, maybe while I was doing that, I somehow formatted my hard drive with all my videos on it. And even like I'm like, oh, maybe it was just the quick format and I can restore it. I tried a restore program that everyone recommends that would work for quick format, and it just didn't bring it back. I was like, well, it's so weird how I just lost 2 years of history. I mean, look, it doesn't matter, everything that I've published is already out on YouTube, but I don't know, like, it didn't bother me that much, but it was a bit annoying because I have stuff on there, like, photos that I use for thumbnails, and I don't know, just the history of everything that I've been working on in the past 2 years just like disappeared. And then straight on the heels of that, we had this church conference, right? And I was there, and they're having issues. I'll get into that as well. All the issues that those guys were having, that doesn't really affect me directly, but I'll add that to the story. And they're like, anyway, we're having issues doing a live video and stuff. We need to start recording on the cameras, because I do the camera work there. And I'm like, alright, I'll go home and I'll get my SD card. It was like, this getaway was like an hour, less than an hour. So I'm like, look, I'll go home, I'll get my SD card, put them in the cameras, we'll start recording the services and stuff on the cameras. We can do editing later on, because we're having issues live streaming and recording on the PC. Anyway, on my way home, on my way to get this SD card, I was thinking about my hard drive, how I just lost all that work that was there, and I'm like, is this a sign? Maybe I should stop YouTube? Like, I don't know, just that thought came to me, and I'm like, oh no, if God or the cosmic forces wanted me to stop, why wouldn't my cameras also be destroyed so I couldn't do it? And it's so funny, I was thinking that as I was coming home. I was thinking that I was coming home. I get home, I'm pulling out SD cards, I'm trying to pull the battery out of one camera, and I found the battery was stuck. The battery was actually they get bloated when there's something wrong with them. Anyway, fast forward, I ended up that camera just ended up in the bin. So it's funny, I was just thinking that, and then like my camera also pretty much got destroyed when I'm just trying to get this SD card, and then after that my other SD card malfunctioned. So the SD card that I'm using now is just like a small one borrowed from the church. So essentially you could say both my cameras are not working. And so it's just funny. I'm like, should I is this a sign that I should quit YouTube because of all these weird? But at this conference, like, it's not just me. This is like a 5-day conference. In the first day or the second day, this lady, she was holding her infant baby. She fell down the stairs holding her baby, with her baby, right? Thankfully, thank God, they're all right. Like, the baby was all right, thankfully. And the lady, she injured her leg, but she was okay. Like, nothing too, I don't think it was broken or anything. And then soon after that, like, the minister's wife fell over as well. I mean, like, a minor fall later on. And then when we get to the conference and there's all this other stuff happening, like, this is not normal. Like, all of this stuff, these couple of people started arguing and like fighting, and then we started to get blackouts at this conference. Like, we got several of the blackouts, throughout the conference. And then I'm just trying to think of all the stuff that happened. Another man fell over at the conference. He tripped over the stage that I was on. I'm on the camera, and this guy just fell over because it was a bit dark and he didn't see the step, like right in front of me. And he's an old, like he was an old man. Like, I mean, he was very fit. He was 70 years old. I think he's over 70 years old. He's very fit. Like he does like landscaping and stuff on the side, but it's just really like, it's hard to see that happen, you know, especially with like elderly man, and just right in front of you just falls over. It's just like you know, heartbreaking kind of to see it. And like, I'm just trying to think, like, there was just this other girl who, she was, I mean, she shouldn't have been doing this, but she was sitting on one of the tables holding another baby, and the table just collapsed from under her. And everyone heard it during the service. Like, what is the probability of all of this stuff happening? And that's sort of what I'm asking, you know, why? But you gotta think, you know, there's a lot worse happening to other people. Like, look at what's happening in the Middle East. Look at Gaza. Look at what's happening in Ukraine. You know, a lot of people are going through a lot of bad situations. Like, there's people, not only are they getting injured, not only are they getting like seriously injured, you know, even some losing limbs, people dying, losing their homes, not having food, not having electricity. But the thing is, are we thinking about what's happening to other people? Like, are we thinking about what's happening across the world? Are we praying about that? Or do we only start praying when our financial situation is bad? You know, and other people are going through a lot worse stuff. But coming back to all of these problems, and the real reason why this stuff can happen, this chain of misfortune or bad luck, and I really had this realization when I was at this conference and I was watching all of this stuff happening, and I had the realization is because it happens when you do great stuff. So you know, the people who were running the conference, the people who were doing the conference, they were doing great stuff, right? Like the way the setup, they had people from overseas. It was like an amazing conference. It was an amazing setup, and with that can come like being glorified by other people, just pride, because you know, you think you've done all this great work, and it is really, really great work. And when you do great work, pride just comes. A lot of people say, oh, I'm not proud or anything, but a lot of times they don't really have anything to be proud about. But when someone is doing these great works, it is very easy to become proud. Yeah, I mean, you do become proud, right? That's like that's definite. And I know, because it kind of happened to me. I was running like this men's soccer team, and the team was going great, and everyone was kind of looking at me as being the one, you know, being the one that is doing all of this. You know, mind you, the players were really good, and then all of a sudden, like, for one, I find myself to be like a bit of a humble person, but in that situation, like, I did become pride. Like, you know, pride gets you. And then I found all of this stuff starting to happen in the team. Like, there were fights, there were people getting injured, and it started becoming really difficult to go to the game, like to run this thing. And I think that's why, like in the Bible, it talks about the Apostle Paul, and it talks about his thorn, and it's for that exact reason. Like, God took Paul, the Apostle Paul, to like see heaven, and then he says, I gave you then a thorn in the flesh. And he talks about the thorn in the flesh is actually all these problems that he was having, like shipwrecks and like hunger and people persecuting. And the reason the Bible says that is so that you can not be proud, because my strength is great in your weakness. And I think that's one of the things we need to be aware of. And you might say, well, I just won't be proud. But when great things are happening, great things, it's kind of like, I don't know if you can actually not be proud and not have that sense of self, inflated sense of self-worth and stuff like that. And related to that as well, you know how I was saying, like, I lost my camera, I also didn't have a helmet because I can't wear the helmet that I bought. And I realized, well, how am I gonna ride? How am I gonna do all this stuff that I'm doing? But I realized that, like, I actually do have another helmet. My brother-in-law, he's going through some things, and he brought some of his stuff to my place. One of those was his helmet. So I had a helmet just sitting there this whole time, and he doesn't use it. Like, he doesn't have a bike. When he wants to ride, he uses my bike. I just let him, whenever you want, just come take my bike, Before all this negative stuff started happening to me, before I sort of hit the place where I don't have stuff of my own, I realized, well, why don't I just borrow his one? And that's when I sort of found I've got pride. I'm like, why should I borrow someone else's stuff? I had pride. That's why I was like, I didn't even realize it. But why not just humble yourself, borrow his helmet, I cleaned it up a bit, I cleaned the insides and that, and just, borrow something. Like, lowering yourself is reaching out for help. Sometimes you need to, like you let's say you need money and you pray to God, and God's like you want God to give you money, right? Because and God will give you money if you pray. He'll give you all your needs. And then, but what if He gives it to you in a way that's a bit humbling for you, where you go and need to ask someone, right? Maybe you need to ask someone for money, and that's humbling. Maybe it's someone who's not. Maybe it's someone who's, like, I guess, status-wise. Maybe you've got a really good job and they don't. But they've got a lot of money lying around for some reason. And if you have to ask them, but you don't want to do that, it's like, oh no, I don't want money in that way. I want God to give me the money. Really, what you want your money, and you also want your own, like, your sense of that you made that money type of thing. So there's two things that you're asking for God, when really, if you need help, just ask. Like, it's humbling, and usually help is just there and it's in your face, and you don't even really have to ask that hard. It's just sometimes it's right there, but you don't want to humble yourself to ask for that help. Like, even millionaires, right? They know this concept of asking and being humble. Like even Dan Penner. Like, I mean, I'm not really a fan of Dan Penner that much, but like, I listen to him, and this guy's a millionaire, multi-millionaire, and you listen to him.
If you don't ask, you don't get. Sure words were never spoken. If you don't ask, you don't get.
But he's just saying you need to ask. Like, that is like a principle that millionaires have. But people, they want to be millionaires, and they want to have that pride of, like, I made that million. So that self-worth, that self-pride. People don't even realize when they're asking for money that they're asking actually for both of these things. They're asking for the money, and they're asking for the dignity and the pride, like that they somehow made that money. But millionaires don't care about that. Millionaires will be like, if you need something, ask, right? Get help. You know, that's a biblical principle. Ask and you shall receive. You know, like it crossed my mind when I was making this video, well, maybe like I can ask for money. You know, that's what some people do. Like they go on, they make a video, they ask people for help, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna ask people for money. I got too much pride for that. So I don't know, maybe I should have less pride. But I mean, even if I wanted to ask, I couldn't, because like the level that where I'm at with my channel, like there's two tiers. One is you know, you can get donations, and I'm not even up to that tier yet. So even if I wanted to ask for money, I couldn't on this video. And obviously the second tier is when you're in the full partner program, and you get money for views. Even if I was doing that, I probably wouldn't have much views to make like decent money. It's the same thing with like being right with God. You know, a lot of people try to do it, try to earn it, try to do like good things, you know, they do it in a religious way. Maybe they think like they can earn their way to God's good books. But you know, like Jesus talks about, they like, you can't earn it, but he gives it as a free gift. And people, some people, that don't like to take a free gift, but like God's offering it there for you to take it. And so like, if God gives us that, then what do we need to do? We also need to do the same thing to others. Like, we need to forgive people that have done bad things to us. So anyway, that's all I've got. If you have this where, you know, you're getting all these bad luck, a lot of things are happening to you, make a comment. Like, tell me what's going on. Tell me if you feel that this has happened to you as well. Just one thing after another, non-stop. Yeah, and if you like my video, don't forget, please hit the like button. And if you like my content in general, please subscribe, and take it easy and ride safe.